Okay, on to the salt and pepper kind of effects, and that is the delay and the reverb. Now, delay is a time-based effect that just holds a signal for a certain amount of time and then plays that back, or we just call it echo, right? We all know what echo is. In nature, it happens because it takes time for sound to travel about a foot a millisecond. So if you're, say, 250 feet away from a big wall, then the sound of your voice will travel 250 feet there and 250 feet back for a total of 500 feet, which makes about 500 milliseconds, or about half a second. Now, I mean, that's a long echo. If the distance is shorter, then the echo will be shorter. And if it bounces off multiple walls, then we could have multiple echoes as well. Now, in terms of using delay in a musical sense, we use it for basically 3 different applications. Traditional echo, a thickening slap, or to widen a sound. Let's check out some examples. The most obvious one is to give an echo to a sound, and typically you want to have this fall onto a beat. In other words, you want the echoes to be synchronized to the BPM of your song. Listen to this example. I have a vocal which is soloed up here, and what I'm going to do is send that out to an aux send, which is feeding this delay line here, which is actually number 2. If I click on that, then I'm sending out a part of this signal, this vocal. If we were to move it all the way there, I've already labeled up there, it's going to be my echo down here. And as you can see, it's set to 500 milliseconds, or half a second. Now, I happen to know that at 120 BPM, 500 milliseconds will yield us a quarter note echo, and let's see if my math is good.
If you were falling.
Yep, exactly on the money right there. But here's the trick. Imagine someone came in and said, you know what, I think we'd like to change the tempo of that song slightly. Here's the deal. If you start changing this tempo, then this number ain't going to work anymore. But a lot of software applications have kind of seen this problem and realized that computers do math very, very well. So instead of dealing with milliseconds right here, you can set up to do all these calculations in musical steps. In this case, that's 4 16th notes, which ends up being quarter notes. So that's why we're getting exact quarter notes. But here's the difference. If you set this up to musical steps, then if you make any changes here, this delay will just lock in time. Check it out. Let's do a little bit faster.
Then I would catch you.
Exactly on quarter notes. Let's bring it down.
You need a light.
You can see it's tracking perfectly. In fact, if we went back to milliseconds here, you can see that's worked out that quarter notes off of 103 BPM is actually 582 milliseconds. Now here's a BPM calculator to help work out exactly how many milliseconds you need to have your delays set so they'll fall exactly with the BPM in your song. In certain software recording solutions, you can actually set up your delays to the musical measures like quarter notes or eighth notes or whatever. Example, how many milliseconds in a quarter note delay at 120 BPM? Well, you work it out through here and it's about 500 milliseconds, or about half a second. An eighth note delay would be half of that, or 250 milliseconds. So the main parameter in a delay is the delay time, and then the feedback control, which controls how many echoes there are there. With the feedback set to 0, then you'd have 1 echo. And the further you turn the feedback to the right, the more echoes you'll have. So here's a good question. How would you route a delay effect? Using the insert method or an effects loop? Yeah, actually the best way to route a delay effect is through an effects loop, so that you can add differing amounts of delay to each channel by using the aux sends. Also, the second way to use delay is to just thicken up the sound with a very short delay, under 100 milliseconds. By having that very short delay, it has the effect of basically hearing 2 different voices rather than 1. Listen to an example of just a single voice.
Gonna knock you right on the head. You better get yourself together. Pretty soon you're gonna be dead.